Good morning, 8:07 a.m. as we move along. KFYO Mornings, Dave King and Matt Martin. We're broadcasting live and direct and in full color here at the KFYO studios.
Not that you can see it.
Which is not that you can see on the radio, but we can see it. Culligan Water Studios, better water, pure and simple. Hey, well, we're kind of delighted to have a couple of guests in the studio this morning. James Naismith is back. Mm-hmm. Good morning, James.
Was this the third time?
At least.
Yeah.
On your show, that's right. Yeah. Exactly, that's right.
James is the administrator manager of the Science Spectrum.
Absolutely.
And, boy, you got some exciting things going on out there.
We do. We have several things coming up this month, but specifically this weekend we've got two different things. We've got a brand new movie that opens tomorrow in the Omni Theater called Mysteries of China, and it's all about sort of the history of China and how the history of China has shaped modern China. And then we also have an event coming up on Saturday called the Creative Learners Reading Fair, and we're partnering with the Institute for Creative Learners, and it's a reading fair that's a free event for kids.
Well, very good. And we happen to have someone here this morning.
We do. We have the expert on the event, and that's Miranda Condra. She's with the Institute for Creative Learners.
Good morning, Miranda.
Good morning. How are you this morning?
Well, I couldn't be better, I guess.
That's good.
Well, tell us about the Institute for Creative Learners.
Well, the Institute for Creative Learners is a nonprofit here in town, and we provide help for children with learning differences, specifically dyslexia. We provide testing and therapies and summer camps, all to help these children.
Is that a big problem?
It is. Actually, research shows that 20% of the population has some level of dyslexia.
Really?
Yes.
Now, that's when you see letters out of order?
Dyslexia is, yes, it's an interesting disorder. It manifests itself many different ways, but for some children it can be seeing the letters out of order. For some of them, the letters move. Some of them, they're reversed. Some of them, they just can't seem to connect the letter with the sound.
And I've heard that some people have problems with numbers as well.
That's true. And it is a neurological processing disorder. It has nothing to do with intelligence.
Right.
These kids are super smart. They just need some help getting over this hump.
Right.
Yeah, and that's fun. Funny. I think I've just come to realize that my father must have been dyslexic.
It's more common than you realize.
Well, yeah, he. It's just funny because he just had a really tough time reading and doing it, and I look back on it now. Of course, they didn't know what.
No.
Dyslexia. He was born in 1914.
Oh yeah.
They had no idea what that was.
They really just started hitting their stride on learning about this in the 70s. And it's really fascinating. You look at some of the most successful people in our society, Steven Spielberg, Steve Jobs, Richard Branson. They're all dyslexics. And there's actually some amazing research that shows these kids, these people are more imaginative than the rest of us. They're more creative. They're out-of-the-box thinkers. They're entrepreneurs. They're inventors. They're artists. They're amazing.
Because they have intelligence, but they have this disability. So
yes.
It's a workaround.
It's a workaround, but also they think that these kids think in pictures and colors rather than the linear thought that most of us have. So they're actually more efficient thinkers than the rest of us. It just doesn't dovetail well with reading.
Yeah. So tell us how this all connects with the Science Spectrum.
Well, we have a wonderful event. This is our second year to do it, and it's a reading fair, and it's not just for children with dyslexia. It's for all children, and what we want to do is we want to encourage reading, encourage learning. We'll have mini horses there. We'll have dogs. We'll have the Lubbock Community Theater doing some vignettes from their new
Addams Family.
Addams Family. There we go.
Thank you.
I appreciate that. We'll have, Boys and Girls Club, Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, Raymond Girls, all sorts of organizations there to let people know what's available in the community. They'll have activities, and children 12 and under with a paying adult get into the Science Spectrum free.
Okay, so you want to just invite any dyslexic child?
Every child, dyslexic or not.
Is there a fee?
There is no fee, and we are also offering free dyslexia mini screens.
Okay, is this going to be like a one-day event? Or?
Yes, from 10 to 2. 10 to 2. And this
Saturday.
This Saturday.
This Saturday, 10
Day
to
after
2.
tomorrow. Mhm.
At the Science Spectrum, where the big jet is.
That's
Yes.
right.
By the way, you guys need to paint that.
We do, and we've had a contractor to come out and do that, but they haven't shown up yet. So that's interesting.
What did I call it?
You did call it. So, yeah, we do want to let folks know for sure that the event is 10 to 2 this Saturday, and children that obviously normally have to pay to get into the Science Spectrum Museum, the whole reading fair will be going on in the lobby of the Science Spectrum, and all kinds of hands-on activities, all kinds of organizations from tech and folks there. And these, again, we'll have miniature horses and dog shows and other fun things going on to come see as well. But that's just until 2 o'clock. So if you want to come and you want your child to be able to go through the event, if you're concerned about the screenings, possibly seeing if your child needs some assistance, and do that. But that's all until 2 o'clock. After 2 o'clock, we go back to normal charging again for children going into the museum. So that's just up until 2 o'clock. Adults still have to pay to go in with them, though.
Well, what a deal.
Absolutely.
All right, so you also have a movie starting, you said tomorrow?
Tomorrow on
And,
Friday the 6th.
I'll tell you, I've heard the ads for it, and it sounds like one of the more interesting ones that y'all have had before.
We think it's going to be very popular. We tend to bring in this sort of historical documentary film in the fall. Obviously, the Omni Theater, we're a nonprofit organization in theater, so we just bring in science and history documentary films. We don't really show Hollywood films. And this one's called Mysteries of China, and it's a look at both modern China, but then a lot of it is going back and following archaeologists and some of the work that they're doing now to learn more about ancient China, specifically the first emperor and that first dynasty, the creation of the Great Wall, the terracotta warriors, and learning a lot about the past and the history of China and how that has created modern China as we know it today. So you start off in modern China, you follow the archaeologists, you go back, there's a lot of recreation and reenactment of ancient China and learning a lot about that, and then sort of following through time how China has evolved into the modern superpower that it is today. So for us, especially with the world the way it is today and a lot going on, it'll give a lot of insight into that part of the world and sort of the cultural significance and importance of probably what's considered now, obviously, one of the 3 greatest nations on the earth.
Yeah, and I mean, to understand China and where they are today, you have to look back at their history.
Absolutely.
Because in the United States is the same way. If you want to understand, let's say we've been talking a lot about guns. If you want to understand about that kind of thing when it comes to the United States compared to the rest of the world, you have to look at how it started and how they got here today. China just has a much longer history that you have to go through.
Yes, so obviously Chinese culture has been around for thousands of years, but the first emperor and the first united China, we're talking about in the years of about 220 BC. So that's when China as a nation became a unified entity. And so like you were saying, absolutely, as we look back on the United States at the Revolution and the founding and our founding fathers, China looks back to before BC time to as their founding with the first emperor.
No.
Wow.
All right, so
we have a lot of trouble frequently remembering how young this country is.
Absolutely.
We're a baby. I mean, the rest of the world is far older than we are. Yeah.
now we want to give away 4 tickets to go see the Mysteries of China?
Mysteries of China.
And it doesn't open until tomorrow.
Correct.
But we're going to give away 4 tickets now to caller number 3. So if you want to go see Mysteries of China, give us a call. We'll give you 4 tickets to go see that. Okay. And
Very good.
So, and we just want to remind you of the event on Saturday.
From 10 to 2 at the Science Spectrum, the Creative Learners Reading Fair. Come and have fun and encourage your children to read and learn about learning differences.
Yeah, and
Reading is fundamental.
If you have
That's right.
any worries about whether your child has dyslexia or not, definitely come out and
Absolutely.
get at least a pre-screening or mini screening. And
It's a mini screening. We'll give the parents a report. They can take it to their local school district and get full testing if it's indicated.
Yeah.
all right.
All right.
Well, thank you all very much for coming out.
Interesting. Very interesting. Science Spectrum is one of our jewels here in Lubbock. I mean, it is. So many people go, and you have so many different events throughout the year. It's a great entity. It really is. We're going to thank you for coming out, and we will take our break right now and be right back after this.